All right, so today was a mixed day. So welcome back to Freedom Algo. We're going to talk about trading mixed days like this. So we had what looked like a large range. There's clearly an upward bias though. You can see that the lows, even though there are some lower lows in there, it's ultimately working its way higher and it's grinding up until eventually it did turn into more of an uptrend. Now, I tried to find some channels in here from like this low, through here, and you could argue that there's something close, but not, it doesn't quite fit very well. And, same thing here. Like I tried to draw it from here at some point, and that one does actually fit. It actually lines up pretty well with this channel. So it is possible that there's a wider channel there. The problem is it makes the high like all the way up here, but it does line up with the midline. It doesn't really do anything. It gets you the same idea anyway, so it doesn't matter. But also there's some measured moves in play. So earlier we had this measured move, that one worked. And then we had a bigger measured move for this whole leg that I measured to here, and that actually became an area of resistance later. So those are very, very important. I tell people this all the time. Don't sleep on measured moves because they are super important. So let's get over here, take a look at the trades. Now, this was a tough day. When it's mixed trading like this, even though you can kind of tell where things are going, there's a lot of questionable setups where you just don't get the right signal bars. So I do want to call that out in advance. I didn't mark this, but right here, this bar at 5:46 a.m. my time Pacific, there is a second entry short there after the uptrend played out, but it's just kind of no man's land. It's not really a triple test. It's not really back to the highs. So I didn't mark it, but there is a short there that some people might take. I just don't think that it's a good one overall. And you don't know for sure if like there is still this uptrend could kind of be wider. So anyway, the first real trade I saw was this one. And what this is that we had this kind of range high at the time. And what this was just a breakout pullback long. It's just a first entry long, but it is a breakout. And it does look to me like we had our two legs there. So that is a factor. It's a little risky because of that, but it is a breakout pullback. So you might get another move to a move higher. This might become support. Then after this, we had a first entry, second entry long. That's a good one. It's a big bar though. It's 23 ticks. So, it's one of those things where unfortunately the volatility is still kind of there. So if you took this trade, the challenge that you run into is that you're going to have a huge stop loss if you enter one tick above this bar, which you have to because this one pretty much barely comes back and then takes off. So if you entered on this bar, one tick above it, your stop loss is going to be one tick above the bar, below the bar, and your entry is one tick above the bar. So you actually have a 25 tick stop on that, which is just a huge stop loss to have. So if you did do that, it's fine. It's just that like you either need to be trading with like less contracts on days like this and having a bigger target or something like that. You can still scalp 4 ticks, so you need to be careful. Really, like on days like this, like sometimes you got to go for a bigger target, 8 ticks, 10 ticks, something like that for your scalps. I think for me, later on, I did switch to going for 4 ticks because the volatility got a little smaller, but I wanted to call that out. All right, then after that, we come up, we reverse. We get a close outside and a new low. This one, if you look at this high, it's actually a first entry, second entry long. That looks kind of like it's breaking out to this area. So it's far away from the EMA. There's definitely some risk there. But if you're going to risk it and try to catch a low, that's where you do it because the downtrend is played out at that point. Second entry long. All right, excuse me. I had to pause for a second. All right. Then following this, you actually get you come up and you make this higher low within the trend. That's a reasonable scalp, because it's just looking like you're breaking back up from these lows. So decent one, but there is a second entry short here with a really bearish bar after the uptrend played out. Another scalp, but then it goes into news and gets volatile. After the news, it goes up. And you get a close outside and a new high all at once, right off the highs, triple test. So that one I marked green. You might argue that one's red. It's a pretty reasonable trade to take. So decent trade setup. Then you come up, you try to make a high here. You try to make a second high here. So this is actually a second entry long that fails, but it's a little sideways. So it's okay, but it comes down. You get a close outside of this little down channel. It makes 2 swings down to a new low. You reverse. And then from this reversal, you finally come up, you get a close outside, and you get this bullish candle. Now, this one, it's nothing that special. It's just a first entry and then a second entry short that fails. So it's a failed second entry short, back up into the range. You found support down here before, so I just thought that was a reasonable trade, but it's just a first entry long. Finally, you come up, you tap the top here, and you get a lower high. That's a nice, good one. And there's this little downtrend working, so that's a nice lower high. And then it kind of, no, I don't see anything here. Failed breakout, but no setup. Comes down, you get a close, close outside, new low. I was hoping for a second entry long here, but the signal bar is bearish. You do get a higher low here, but there's too much stem on the top, right below the EMA. If this one closed bullish, I was going to enter a long there. But you can just see that there's just too much stem, too much of a wick right there. So I just didn't love that one. Hopefully that's coming through and you can see that properly. There's just that EMA in play. So I just didn't love it. And then after that one, I don't know, something, that's weird. Oh, sorry. Moved my screen there. Accident. Sorry about that. Technical issue for a quick second. Should be good. I don't know. For some reason, it's like not. There we go. You can see it here. Just too much stem. Now you do get a higher low here. This one was so. I was so frustrated that I couldn't take this one because you get a first entry, second entry short that fails. The problem is, at the time, you didn't really know if this was a reliable uptrend. It looked like a range and that you would be going long in the middle of a range. So even though this works, I don't think you can take this. So I do want to just mention that. All right, this thing finally does go up. And then up here, you get a first entry, second entry long. So this is a second entry long. Also, even if you counted this as a double top, it's a hidden second entry long on the engulfing bar. So if you entered one tick above this bar, you could do that on the engulfing bar. You could also just wait for this to close. If you do that, though, then you're entering one tick above that, and you get an inside bar, so then it becomes more questionable. I did take this trade. I only scalped 4 ticks on this. I entered on the engulfing bar. I was really just thinking that I would just scalp a few ticks, move my stop, and then catch a runner to the highs. But it didn't actually work out like that. It filled me. And then I sat sideways for a minute before it finally came up here, and the volume just got really slow. So it wasn't the best trade. It was decent. It was still worked for my scalp, and it would have worked even for bigger than a little bit of a scalp. So I marked it. It is safe for me. You get a close outside and a new low all at once. You're looking for a new high on the uptrend. It does play out. It then kind of goes sideways. You get these low here. This is just a triple test and a higher low. It's also a failed second entry short for the bullish bar. So I like that one. And then up here, this one is really nice. You get the measured move. And then after the measured move, you technically get a first entry there and then second entry long. But if you just counted this all as like sort of one high, you could look at this as a larger first entry long, second entry long on the swing with a higher low and a really bullish bar. And then confirming this trend line off of these lows here. It moved a little bit on me, but like that. It confirms that very well. Get a nice move there. And then finally over here, you finally break out of this. And this is just a higher low after breaking out. It's not any sort of second entry. There is a first entry, second entry long with a higher low. What I'm trying to say. And you're far away from the EMA. You could probably ride that back. You're thinking maybe we get a new high on that channel, but it's hard to say because it was already bullish. We already made our legs up, so it could just turn sideways, and that's what it looks like it's doing. So that's how I saw it today. Pretty solid day overall, but I didn't love the price action that much. There's a lot of spots where you were hoping for a better setup than you got. So if you didn't take that many trades today, no big deal. I didn't take all of these trades. I only took a small amount today. I actually only took one trade earlier, and that's all I took on the day, even though I marked all these other ones. And it's because I had a contractor coming over. I had to do a bunch of things around the house, so I was leaving the desk and coming back a bunch. And you don't want to trade when you're distracted. So that's how it goes. But anyway, hope you have an awesome weekend.